bell tolls. The midnight hour is upon us. It's time once again for two internet strangers to discuss the good and evil of the horror genre. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the terror within the Hallow-Holics Anonymous podcast.
It's so cool you found this witch's coven dinner, Corey. I didn't think these things were real. Maybe we can even interview them.
This is exactly what I was thinking, except I'm not sure if these are the satanic ritual kind of witches or the kind who just wrap candles with thread and read poetry.
I will admit both options aren't really that great when you really get right down to it.
Sisters, I'd like you to welcome our delicious guests for dinner.
I think it's the former.
Probably. Maybe the podcast will distract them.
Hi, I'm Maddy.
And I'm Corey. And this is Hallow-Holics Anonymous, a show dedicated to all things horror and occasionally Halloween. I almost said a show dedicated to all things Corey. Because I'm a narcissist.
Only on April 1st.
Right.
You know, I feel like our lives we've crafted through this podcast, the skits, the opening and closing skits, are so much richer than our real lives.
They really are. I mean, if we did skits about my real life, it would just be me with a blank look on my face, staring at a TV with a video game controller in my hand. Or reading the manual to my car. Something stupid like that.
Do you have any Christmas bells nearby?
I don't, actually. I think there's some in the living room. I can go check if you really want me to.
We need some Christmas bells.
All right, hold on a second. Let me see if they're still out. I hope this doesn't wake the dogs.
Your mom comes in. What are you doing?
Oh, she won't hear it. All right, you ready?
Yes. It's December 1st. Keep going. It's December 1st, the beginning of the true holiday season. The beginning of our gifts to each other. Your present, Corey.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Your present was practical magic.
And your present, Maddy, was Lords of Salem by Rob Zombie.
What a magical time of year.
Can I stop this now?
Yes. There was so much spirit in your jingle jangling.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Christmas guy. I think it's hilarious that I was able to just go materialize those at a moment's notice, though. Those have been hanging on my front door for like half a decade. For no reason, and finally they have a use. Like the universe truly is not all chaos. There is order. I was pretty shocked that you had some Christmas bells. You're not alone in that. I was too.
So the topic is our Christmas gifts. Every week we're gonna gift each other movies the other person hasn't seen to review.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of trying to keep them on a theme, sort of. Mm-hmm. Like this one, we managed to at least keep witches involved.
Yeah, surprising. And two very different types.
Oh, yeah.
Mine was heartwarming and yours is heart-eating.
Pretty much. And baby licking.
Uh-huh. No horror news today, though.
No, because we just did it yesterday and I couldn't find any. I mean, the closest thing I have, I guess they're releasing some Five Nights at Freddy AR video game. It's called Five Nights at Freddy AR Special Delivery. I don't know. I don't really care about those games. I don't know if this is like one of those deals where like it's like Pokemon Go where you're like looking through your phone at like the Five Nights at Freddy monsters or whatever, but yeah.
Maybe they should do like a Banana Splits reskin.
Oh, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine less people would buy it then, and that's probably not what they're going for.
Yeah, but if they released that special edition with the movie. Uh-huh.
Special delivery, not special edition.
Whatever.
Anyway, yeah, that's the closest thing to horror news I have.
Okay, well, that's okay, because things have happened on December 1st in the past.
On this day in horror history.
In 1934, we saw the release of The Ghost Walks. In 1944, we saw the releases of House of Frankenstein and Murder in the Blue Room.
Oh, House of Frankenstein is the worst movie ever made.
That's pretty bad.
Dracula goes out like a bitch in that. He falls off a carriage at dawn and gets killed by the sun.
Well,
Dumb.
The sun is never his best friend, let's be honest.
No. But what are you doing falling off carriages in the morning? You know better.
Believe it or not, there's another vampire movie that came out on December 1st that's even worse than that one. In 2003, there was I Dream of Dracula.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Actually, the premise is fun because it was supposed to be a comedy about a woman having dreams about being a vampire or being the reincarnation of one. But even just watching the trailer, the execution is terrible.
Ugh.
I mean, like, so independent, film student bad that you wonder if they were just doing the assignment for the credit. Also, in 2006, Turistas was released.
What was?
Turistas.
Oh, Turistas. Okay, I've seen that. That was on this day in horror history.
This is probably going to be a pretty light episode this week, guys, mostly because we recorded the other episode last night.
Yeah, and I still haven't really slept because Maddy made me stay up watching lady movies.
But that's okay, because that means you're probably getting 2 episodes in a week, so you're very welcome.
That's true.
Lady movies? What else were you watching? Soap Dish?
No, Practical Magic is a lady movie.
You said movies. Ugh.
Well, I didn't mean it.
You're like, well, Never Been Kissed was my choice.
No, that's not. Yeah, that's a chick movie too, but that's a good movie.
This trailer is so off. It's so bad.
It's like everything about this movie is like 90s girl power.
Yeah, but this trailer doesn't match the tone of the film at all.
Falls victim to a deadly curse.
Any man who wins the heart of an Owens woman is bound to end up 6 feet under.
And as hard as they try,
The voice, the music.
they can't keep their loves.
I feel like I'm never going to see you again.
It's like the typical rom-com narration.
Which it doesn't suit the movie.
It was fate.
It was a curse, wasn't it? Like that right there, that's a very emotional moment in the movie.
Yeah.
Sort of way.
But like,
He's looking for answers.
Did you or your sister?
Well, to be fair, the emotional,
The only kind of magic.
You just look.
what they want you to feel in this movie kind of changes minute by minute.
Break the
That's okay,
evil
because that's what it's like to be a
spells.
woman.
But what can I do for the right guy?
Is the magic of 2 people
Magic isn't just spells and potions.
who discover the power
What I'm saying is, follow it.
All relationships have problems.
of true love.
Again, that right there.
Yeah, that's like the penultimate scene in the movie.
And their sisters are doing it for themselves
Yeah.
plays. Do you get why I thought this trailer was stupid?
Yeah. Were you the one that called this? Well, you said something like watching this movie is like going to the Lilith Fair, or it's like a Sarah McLachlan.
Yes, Sarah
Yeah.
McLachlan.
That's right. So Maddy made me watch Practical Magic, which is a movie about a bunch of hippie serial killer chicks who murder their husbands and run away from home and murder other men, and the man who covers it up. Basically.
Okay, well, they're not murdering.
They're murdering.
It was a family curse. They didn't want it to happen.
Yes, it's a family curse that they didn't try to fix. They're just like, oh, I guess every man we ever fall in love with dies. Let's keep falling in love.
Sandra Bullock tried to fix it. She just couldn't kill that bug.
That I don't think would have done it. That bug was a harbinger. That would have been like killing the dog.
But she still tried. She tried something.
Yeah, but they have this ancient book that can resurrect asshole ex-boyfriends, but they don't have any spell in that book that can break the curse that kills the good boyfriends.
Well, the book was probably crafted by their ancestor, who was probably stronger than them. Do you think she would have put that spell in that book?
Yeah, but she didn't do it on purpose, though. So you think even she would have spent all of her time trying to fix it, too.
Maybe
Because she didn't want it to turn into... She was just so brokenhearted that she accidentally turned it into a curse that lasted forever.
Well, most of the spells she put in there are curses.
Well, yeah. And the end too, like we have no proof that this curse has been lifted, and Aidan Quinn might be dead now. We don't know.
Okay, so I gather you did not love this movie.
I didn't hate this movie.
Okay, see, you needed some ice cream or maybe some Chardonnay.
I actually had ice cream while I had butter pecan vanilla ice cream while I was watching this, and rum. Well, no, not rum.
You should have been washing your beard or something. I don't know.
No, I think I probably should have been drinking like Chardonnay or some shit. I should have been eating like just. This movie is plain vanilla ice cream and Chardonnay.
Well, you gotta admit, the idea of the curse is very upsetting.
Yeah, I guess if you even like spend any time making it matter, like Sandra Bullock's character's husband dies, and what? She spends 4 days in bed. She gets a psychic visit from her free-spirited sister. And everything's fine. She's over it. The kids don't even give a shit. Their dad's dead.
It had probably been a couple years, like 1 or 2 years.
Okay, there's another thing. Time in this movie doesn't matter because it's not explained at all. 1 minute, the kids are 4. The next minute, they're 10. All of a sudden, they're adults. One of them's climbing out a window, running away with a dirty fella.
Well, it is based on a novel.
What does that matter?
I don't know. I just wanted to weasel that in there.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
Right. I'm complaining for the sake of comedy. It wasn't a bad movie. I didn't want to shut it off at any point, but it really, really is so emotionally unbalanced. Mm-hmm. Like it's.
Actually, Roger Ebert thought that too. He said it was too scary for children and too childish for adults. And Angie Arago said it was a chick movie with multiple personality disorder.
Those are both excellent ways to explain that movie. Man, like, I wanted to like it. And I think I've seen parts of it before because as soon as I turned it on and saw the way Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock were acting, I'm like, they're going to kill a dude. I don't remember like when or how or like what was going to happen.
I think it's because you've probably seen the Earl Has to Die music video.
Earl's gotta die.
Yeah.
Earl has to die. Who are you?
It has to die.
Earl's gotta die.
Earl has to die.
No.
Do we have to look it up?
Yes,
we have to look it up? Okay, fine.
I'm not going to look it up because I know I'm right. I'm only going to look it up if you say you're right because I'll know you're lying.
Oh, man. Earl had to die. We were both wrong.
Ooh, bam.
Yeah. You were wrong, too.
Yeah, but the point is you were wrong.
At least I had the right word. I just had the wrong tense.
No, I don't care if I'm wrong as long as you're wrong, too. That, to me, is a win. That's in my column.
Oh, you are such a spiteful scholar.
I really am. All right, so what else about this? Okay, we can't say that. What else about this movie? Again, like, I don't know why I'm so angry. Like, I didn't hate this movie. It was entertaining. I think maybe I just can't relate to a house full of women.
It's possible.
I'm like a white male. You know what I mean? I don't like, I don't understand sister. I don't even understand brotherhood. Like, I don't understand being around people. So I can't really relate to this movie. That might be some of it.
Oh, man, you saying that brotherhood thing made me want to launch into the great brotherhood of man from How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying.
Don't do that. I mean, I guess, like, I did feel some feelings at the end with the stupid broomstick circle, but that was immediately ruined when they were pushing the dust out and the one lady was using her push broom backwards.
Well,
she was using a push broom like a regular broom. It immediately took me out of the emotional impact of the scene.
Okay.
But for 2 seconds, I felt a feeling.
Okay. Well, maybe you weren't in the right mood. All I know is I might be looking at this film through rose-colored glasses because I loved this movie when I was a kid and it first came out. And I watched it with my mom a few times because my mom loved it too. And that ghost scene was the first scene I remember seeing as a kid where a ghost was legitimately scary to me.
I can see how a kid would be pretty terrified by him.
Like, I think the scariest part for me wasn't even like when you saw him come out of the body or any of the other stuff. It was when the little girl saw him through the window, and when you saw him saw that from everyone else's perspective. He wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
I found that upsetting.
Yeah, no, I get that. And like, I love Sandra Bullock. I don't mind Nicole Kidman. The lady from Lost Boys is always great, and the other lady who's in everything that I forget is equally as great. There's a really good cast of like actresses in this. Even like the townspeople that hate them, there are some really good actresses in there too.
Mm-hmm.
So
it isn't geared towards a male audience, and you're right. I just thought you could overcome that hurdle, I guess that boundary.
No, I think I did. Like, I honestly think I did. Like, if I didn't, I would have shut the movie off. I'd be annoyed right now. And I'm mostly just shouting for the sake of being funny.
We have watched much worse movies.
Yeah, we really have watched much worse movies. I do have a problem with Aidan Quinn covering up the murder, though. Like, I'm okay with the fact that they killed him. I would have killed him too.
I think he saw him as an evil ghost, and that's possibly why he decided to cover up the murder. Also, he was really into Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, that's true. But still, like, it's just everybody seemed to abandon their morals for the sake of the plot, which I thought was a little bit lazy.
That's why you have to execute witches and not put them on an island.
Yeah, are we segueing into my gift to you then?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I've still got some more notes.
Okay. I was going to say, fell a little quick. But yeah, that's true. If these witches would have been burned, problem solved. So this was supposed to be set on the East Coast, I think, but it was actually filmed off the coast of Oregon? Washington?
There were a few places it was filmed. They staged the exterior shell house in one place and the interior in another place.
Yeah. And that exterior was built for the movie too, on rental property.
Mm-hmm. And
they actually built that and tore it down at the end. All the flowers and stuff were fake.
Yeah, it was actually, there was some kind of controversy over it. They agreed to do that because it was like sacred land or something along those lines. Kind of like, no, Weekend at Bernie's too. It wasn't sacred land. They just made the same deal to tear it down when it was done. But
yeah.
You know, Barbra Streisand actually tried to purchase it because the shell house looked so beautiful. She thought it would look like it did inside in the film.
Yeah, that's not the way that works. She should probably have known that. So if it's sacred land, like this happened in Natural Born Killers too. Like when the kids don't want Aidan Quinn to drink the potion, the go away potion that Nicole Kidman made. Mm-hmm. Oh, that just reminded me of something else too. I gotta make a note to come back to. Nicole. Okay. So they did this in Natural Born Killers, and it annoyed me too. There's a scene where Mickey and Mallory get married on the bridge. You've seen it, right?
I think so, yeah. It's been a while.
Okay. Well, there's a scene where Mickey and Mallory get married, and they throw a bunch of stuff off this bridge into this huge, deep canyon. And you know that there's nobody going down there to get it. So they're basically just littering on national land, you know? And this is the same deal. Like, the kids took that little syrup pot. What are those called?
Creamer pot?
Pourer pots? Jar? Dumper?
Vessel?
Yeah, urn. I don't know. Molasses coffin. Whatever. Glass bottle. Whatever it is.
Okay, let's just move on from what it is.
Yeah. Sorry, I hate it when I can't figure out words. But they threw it off the edge of that cliff into the sea. They littered into the sea.
Mm-hmm.
That's awful. Like there was no diver down there to get the syrup, I'm sure.
Well, that's why the ocean is all molasses now, because of so many kids throwing molasses into it.
I'm not overreacting here. It's little things like this that pile up and get us into the situation we're in now.
No, I'm serious. You can't swim in it anymore. All you can do is dip your pancake in it, and it's still salty.
I strongly dislike you right now. Now I forget what I wanted to say about Nicole Kidman. Crap.
They did this in Natural Born Killers. They were littering.
No. I covered all that. That's the littering thing. We're done. But my note, I just wrote down Nicole K, and I don't remember why. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. So my other issue with this is like there's this subplot about Nicole Kidman not having any magic until all of a sudden, for no reason that's never explained, when she's grown up, she does.
No, she has magic. It comes more naturally to Bullock.
No, they specifically say that, oh, don't worry, honey, your magic will manifest eventually, and then we didn't see it happen. Well, of course it probably did, but you can't have something like that happen off screen. It's bad storytelling.
Well, she wasn't the main character. She was a secondary character, if you want to pick any, like, lead protagonist, and that would have required adding an extra half hour to the movie. Would you have really wanted an extra half hour on this movie?
It would not have. It would have required 2 seconds of her, like, ghost stirring her tea like Sandra Bullock kept doing. That's all they would have needed to do is
maybe
like right before she leaves the house, make something float.
Okay, maybe they were just trying to heavily imply that her magic was sex magic.
They do that. I don't even know where to. She does no sex magic.
Yeah, I'm sure she does some sex magic. She's
okay, be off screen. Fair enough.
And if not, there's got to be at least one movie in which they were pretty much riffing off of this, and it was sex magic. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, probably.
I really loved the set and the design in this film. I think they built a wonderful atmosphere.
Oh, God, I thought it was beautiful. I love – this is why I'm going – this is why I have no idea where I'm going this summer when I travel. Like, I really want to go back to the quaint little towns in New England, but I really, really want to go back south again because I miss the South. And those two places are too far away to do both. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, this movie just reminds me of so many cute little towns that I've like been through and stayed in over the years. That
you could always find a cute little quaint town in the South and like 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, but they're not the same.
That's
quaint
true.
Towns in the South are different than New England quaint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love them both equally, but they're very different.
Yeah, we're
the
bigger on
attitudes
brick.
are very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked all that. I feel like this movie was like wrapped up a little too neatly at the end.
Fair enough, yeah. Suddenly the town's not prejudiced after this bonding sisterhood experience they all have.
Yeah. Yeah. And they all are willing to show up to the house that's been terrifying them since they were children, that kind of thing. Like,
listen, when women get together to destroy a man's soul, it changes you.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And it was cute. Like, the ending was definitely cute, you know, and I did like it. Like, I did find myself being like, oh, they're accepted. This is so amazing. They have the acceptance I've never found.
Well, if you want to dress up like a witch and get on your roof and try to get the town's women to do it with you.
You don't think I haven't already tried that?
You know, we're probably just seeing a glimpse. It could have just been they were doing that because it was Halloween night, and Halloween's the only day of the year they like them.
Yeah, that's true. That could be. And again, there's another problem I have. Like, you have no idea how much time passed there. Again, like, time is just not treated very well.
The editing was very choppy and awkward, and I certainly think that there might have been more material that had to be removed for time's sake, because you know how studios are. Mm-hmm. They could have filled it out more. When you can feel a song moving from one into the next in a movie, that means the editing is too quick.
Yeah, I agree.
Or there's too much music sometimes.
Yeah.
But I really love this soundtrack, so.
It was so girl power. Mm-hmm. And I feel bad. I feel like I sound like a misogynist right now, and I am certainly not a misogynist.
No, I'll be the first one to admit that, like, if a guy watches this movie, his estrogen levels probably skyrocket.
It's true. It's just so heavy-handedly, like, you can do it, women. You know, and women, you can do it, but you don't need Sarah McLachlan and the Lilith Fair to tell you that. And I just mansplained self-esteem to every woman that listens to it. Shit.
Dig that hole, Corey. Dig that hole.
I don't mean to be a misogynist. This is bred into all men since birth.
Did you know about the witch?
Did I know about what witch?
The witch that was involved with this film.
I guess not.
The director hired a real witch as a consultant, and she decided she wanted a percentage of the film's profits, plus an additional $250,000. When they told her she was dreaming. She placed a curse on the film, and then she placed a curse on the director. And just in case, he got a quick ceremonial exorcism done. Not because he believed it, he said, but just in case.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting because now we're veering off into my semi-expertise with the arcane a little bit. All right, so we'll assume here, since we know these are like earthy hippie witches, right, that they probably hired a Wiccan, something like that, this woman was probably a Wiccan that demanded all this money, yeah? So they believe in the rule of 3, which means whatever you put out into the world comes back to you threefold.
Yep, I watched The Craft too.
It's weird that The Craft got that right.
Well, The Craft was 2 years before this movie.
Anyway, point is, she as a practicing witch, she should have known this, and that's like number one bad thing that she did. Like that's bad witch behavior. She's probably dead now.
Yeah,
she probably got like filleted by Satan randomly,
or she just didn't get hired to consult for a film production again,
or that.
Yeah. In 2003 and 2010, some channels tried to adapt this into like TV series. And
were any episodes actually released?
Nope. But right now, apparently, because the author eventually released a prequel, they're trying to do a series based on the prequel. So we'll see if that comes to it. All I could read is that it's going to be streaming somewhere.
Okay. I mean, Charmed is back and seems to be doing well. This might do okay, too.
Charmed, I am convinced, only was created because of practical magic and The Craft.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I think Charmed only exists because of The Craft and practical magic.
Oh, yeah, you're probably very right.
I mean, that whole book thing, I'm pretty sure they got that idea from practical magic. And Sisterhood, I thank you.
The book thing?
Yes. Charmed is all about the book.
Every religion is all about the book. They didn't just get that from some half-assed
No, I'm
chick,
right.
Maddy.
I'm right.
You're...
Anyway, after I'd watched Lords of Salem and I looked back at Practical Magic, I really realized that both of these films kind of describe both of our styles. Practical Magic is a very Maddy movie, and Lords of Salem is a very Corey movie.
Yeah, very, very true. And oddly enough, yours is more factual than mine. Like, the witches in Lords of Salem never existed.
Yeah. Yours is a good old-fashioned exploitation. Witchploitation.
Yeah.
Or just a man mansplaining witches. You don't know.
I'm sorry, ladies. Feel free to tweet at me if you're mad. At least you'll be communicating.
That's what we do best.
Communicate. Not in my experience, you don't. I actually really like this trailer. I forgot how cool it is.
And at least it matches the tone of the film more than the other one did.
And I like that it's just images, which is essentially the entire movie. But
yeah. Let's be honest, the entire movie is a Rob Zombie music video.
I don't. That's very. His music video is all full of like quick cuts and oversaturation, and
there's definitely some oversaturation.
Yeah, you're right. But like, yeah, I don't think this.
And the
is
hallucinations are quick cuts.
Satan, come.
This is more like if Dario Argento directed a acoustic Rob Zombie video.
And his later films didn't suck.
Satan, come to us.
I don't think they did.
Have you seen Dario Argento's Dracula?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about Rob Zombie. Yeah,
I love that sweater.
I do too. I was actually about to start shopping for that sweater again tonight.
Oh boy, this is my movie, so I've got a synopsis.
Before you start, I just want to tell everybody that I've been trying to like get you to watch this movie for like a year. At least, right? Like, it's been at least two summers have passed since I've been trying to get you to watch this movie. I'm so glad I finally did.
I'm a non-committal movie watcher. You can never pin me down, man.
Understandable. Girl power. Whatever.
So a coven of naked, flabby women swear their love to Satan and vow that his son will eventually be born to the descendant of the Puritan who executes them. Years later, the curse comes home to roost, and the naked, flabby witches come back in all their glory to sow their revenge on Sherry Moon Zombie.
Yes, do you know why?
I don't know. I guess poor dieting, really.
No, her true last name was Hawthorne, so she was a descendant of the main witch hunter dude.
Yeah. I watched the same movie you did.
Just shut up.
You don't have to mansplain to me.
I wasn't. I just felt like there was fucking dead air. And I was trying to keep it going.
So
sorry for not boring the audience.
I was watching some behind the scenes stuff, like some interviews to get some information on this movie because I wasn't coming up with much from articles. But in an interview, Rob said that he was partially inspired by a little book he found that piqued his interest. And he bought the book and he read it, and it was just a small book. He said the title was something like Hunting Witches. But I personally really wonder if it might have been the OG Malleus Maleficarum, Hammer of Witches.
I was just about to ask you if you thought that.
Yeah, because it's a really short work, and the only book I could find called Hunting Witches is like a young adult novel or something. Mm-hmm. But I read this last year when we were trying to do our Witch Hunter episode, which is still in the vault. And will remain there because it's depressing. Yeah, it's a dissertation and guide to torturing witches. Real sick stuff, but still somehow very boring. Like, that's just the writing of the time. It's all super boring back then. Oh, no, because the Canterbury Tales isn't. I hated the Canterbury Tales. Oh, of course you would. And that's medieval, Maddie. You're like 3 centuries. This came out in the 15th century. Oh, right. Never mind. Yeah. Oh, what is it? That's not medieval. Are you serious? Okay, what is it? It's pilgrims. So this is obligatorily not a zombie movie unless his wife is in it. We've talked about that before, how he has to have Sherry Moon in just about every film. And I think it's because she's his muse, honestly. And that's okay. Yeah, I think so too. And I don't think she's bad. In this movie, no. In this movie, yeah. She's been pretty rough in some things. So the Middle Ages, Maddie, is 476 AD. Okay. So this is not the Middle Ages. That the Malleus Maleficarum was published. I'm sorry. Well, no. Actually, I may have to relent because it ended, the Middle Ages apparently went all the way up to the 15th century. And what, America happened in 1492? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're just barely. America happened in 1492? Shut up. Look, I'm relenting. You just barely won this argument. Oh, just let it go. Anyway, I read a little bit about Sherry and her opinion on movies, and she only does movies that, like, she says she gets offered other movies, but she doesn't have any interest in doing them because she likes her life. She likes what she does. She likes doing her husband's movie. And she did Toolbox Murders with Tobe Hooper as a favor to Rob Zombie because he's friends with Tobe Hooper. Mm-hmm. So, like, yeah, I think that's really cool that she's just not willing to do crap. I think it's sweet that they both like to work with each other so much. Yeah. She's in an episode of... pretty strong. I think so. They've been together since 93. Yeah. And they got married in, 2002? Yeah, something like that. Accidentally on Halloween. Their wedding, I know too much about this. Their wedding was planned for like November 9th or something, but they decided to say screw it and elope. I read something by Sid Haig where he said that the actors were only given copies of their own scenes to avoid any of the scripts being leaked, right? Mm-hmm, yeah, I saw something about that too. Yeah, and unfortunately, his scene with Michael Berryman and the actor who was slated to play the Reverend Richard Lynch was never finished, so it had to be cut. And to make matters even worse, before they could even finish it, Richard Lynch passed away. which really sucks because he would have been awesome. I love Richard Lynch.
Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Like that guy with the burn scars. Richard Lynch. Never mind. That's who we're talking about.
Yeah.
There was a whole set of like he filmed this like fake movie to be played during the movie as well that didn't make it in.
And that one involved what? Oh gosh, who did that involve?
I can't remember.
It was a few more famous. I want to say Ron Howard was one of them.
Clint Howard was one of them.
Clint Howard, yeah.
Udo Kier and Camille Keaton. Yeah.
That's a shame because it could have been an interesting scene. At least, a fun little nod to the audience.
Yeah. I wish they could have at least released them as deleted scenes. I would have liked to see that.
And towards the end of the film, what struck me is that her love interest wasn't a really strong character. And neither was the scholar who kind of had an idea of what was going to happen to her. This is a film without a real hero. It's a horror story where the princess has no knight and only a dragon.
Yeah, and I kind of dig that. Like, it made everybody a little more realistic.
Yeah, I just wish she could have been her own hero because she didn't really fight anything. Granted, she was a drug addict.
Didn't,
so.
But, I mean, she did immediately... Excuse me. It's kind of why I think they showed that she was a drug addict. I think they wanted to sort of portray that she didn't really have the strength or know how to access the strength that everybody probably has. You know what I mean? Like she was just weak because of that and then turned the wrong direction and went back to that stuff when everything got weird instead of leaning on her friends and continuing to like stay sober.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's kind of what was going on there.
Well, this was shot in less than 23 days.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive. I mean, I can't look at this movie and say it's something I would want to watch again or say it was a favorite of mine, but that's still really impressive with what the product was. Because we talked about, again, much worse movies that had twice the shooting time and somehow didn't turn out nearly as polished.
Yeah, I love this movie. I'm not sure why, to be honest, because it's nothing amazing. But
you like visually stunning horror scenes.
I do. That's true. And it's a lot of these shots are like really pretty photographs, and I like that.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
it's a movie that I can look at and I say, this isn't a bad movie. This is actually a very good movie, but it's not my kind of movie.
Right on. I can accept that. That's actually pretty much the best I could hope for. Like that's the highest praise I think I could expect from you from this type of movie. That's okay. Well, no. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, and
this movie, I spent an entire summer. This was my bedtime movie. Like I put this on, and it would lull me to sleep because it's so strangely calming until it's not, and normally I fall asleep before it's not, so it's okay as long as I go to sleep before the possession stuff starts.
It's pretty
I'm
low
usually
on
okay.
dialogue.
Yeah.
I sort of wanted the guy she liked, the guy she was kind of with. I did want him to be able to do something to try to save her, just because I thought he was a likable enough character to try.
Yeah, but at the same time, like the true tragedy of the end of that movie is when she looks at him and says goodbye and walks in that stage door, and he goes to follow her and just misses the door. Yeah. While what's his name? Ken Faree's character just has no idea what's going on. Like I thought that was really tragic, and I thought it was real. Like these are real reactions to a crazy situation. They thought she was. Well, I mean, they were right at that point. But the whole time, they just thought she was getting high again, because who thinks witches?
Honestly, from the beginning of the story, you know where it's going. There's no doubt in your mind as the tension builds, as the dark scenes build, that it's destined for a tragic ending.
Oh yeah, the minute she gets, and this is another reason I don't care that we're spoiling a newer movie, but the minute she gets that record at the desk of her radio station, you know that nothing good is going to come from this film.
Oh,
but
and I love that element.
It's the ride,
I love that music was the curse. Music was what gave it power. This song being brought back from centuries ago.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. And that's also something that's like a historical thing. Music has always been a part of ritual, and music has always had a power. Yeah. And it's cool to see it used this way. And it was a cool song, too.
Yeah, and I think this movie would pair really well with the remake of Suspiria.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of old Dario Argento in this. There's some Ken Russell in this, too.
Oh, yeah, I love Ken Russell.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't think about the Ken Russell connection until I read it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, there's some altered states for sure in this movie. Yeah. I mean, there's even a little bit of giallo in there, too.
Yeah, even though, like I said, I didn't really like it, I would recommend it anyway. It's a movie I think people should see. Especially because if you're like me and you hate most of Rob Zombie's movies, it kind of gives you a moment to pause and say, he's not a bad film director.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know I like Devil's Rejects, but I hate so many of his other movies that sometimes I just believe that his movies are terrible. But no, he can make really good films.
Yeah. Have you seen 3 from Hell yet?
I have not gotten the chance to see that one yet.
Okay. Yeah, I own it. I bought the limited edition with the special T-shirt.
I mean, I would watch it for Sid Haig alone.
Yeah, he's not in it much. I honestly don't know if you're going to like it. I like it, but it's basically a rehash of the last one.
Mm. Well, and that was Lords of Salem and Practical Magic.
Yes, and I would recommend Practical Magic too. Like I think that both of these movies have. Obviously, if I had to pick, I would watch Lords of Salem before Practical Magic. But I had fun. It was okay.
Yeah, and I think they're both really like major products of their time. You can see the style of the period intensely in both of them.
Oh yeah, so many midriffs in Practical Magic. Nobody has a full shirt on.
Yeah, and like spaghetti straps and.
Really high pants, although that's a thing now again, apparently.
The really high pants actually accentuate the figure properly. I'm just saying. You can actually see the lines.
Oh yeah, I have absolutely no opinion on girls' pants.
Okay. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with high-waisted pants. It's a struggle to find pants that don't like sag.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to check out our blog, you can find us at hallow-holic.blogspot.com or hallow-holic.wordpress.com.
And if you want any more fashion advice, feel free to tweet at us at Nowhere23 or by searching the Twitterverse for Hallow-Holics.
If you want to give us fashion advice, you can email us at hallow-holics@outlook.com.
The man behind me does not want to give me fashion advice. I believe he just wants to beat me to death with a bat full of nails, unless I tell you to go to podpedia.org and search our portal, HHA.
Please sit down and join us. We would love to have you both for dinner.
Oh, are those midnight margaritas?
I'm not drinking that.
Why not? They're delicious. You will love them.
You definitely poison those. I just watched Practical Magic. I know what you do.
Instead of killing us, why don't you join us for our next episode?
I'll consider it. We'll see where we are then.
I guess I'm going to have to give you my gift now, Corey, just in case we don't survive, but you're going to watch Thal next week.
And you're going to watch a movie that is called...
That I made a note about in our episode outline.
I know, I had to go to it. And Maddy, my gift to you is Mr. Frost. And again, this is another movie that I absolutely love, and I hope you do too.
I'm sure I will.
Mm-hmm. It's got Jeff Goldblum in it, in a very different role than what you're used to him in.
I wish I could name some of the actors in Thal, but I can't.
Still very shirtless, though.
Good night, guys.
Have a good night. Thank you.